The dance between darkness and light will always remain. The stars and the moon will always need the darkness to be seen. The darkness will just not be worth having without the moon and the stars. But sometimes the dance rhythm between light and darkness breeds confusion. That's exactly how Giovanni Cassini felt in the 17th century when he stumbled upon Iapetus, one of the strangest cosmic elements in the entire universe. It's been more than 300 years since this discovery was made, but many of the mysteries surrounding it are still unsolved. Join us in today's video as we don our spacesuits and reveal what makes Iapetus the strangest moon in the solar system and why scientists have a hard time understanding it. On October 25, 1671, Giovanni Domenico Cassini, a professor of astronomy at the University of Bologna, was studying the movement of Saturn when he stumbled on a small dot. Although in reality, Iapetus is not in any way small. With a diameter of 912 miles and a mean radius of 454 miles, Iapetus is the third largest moon of Saturn and the 11th largest in the entire solar system. But back then, the technology available could only show this giant moon as a dot. As Cassini continued his observations, he noticed something very strange. He could only see Iapetus when he observed it from the west. Once he'd switched his telescope to catch a glimpse of the east side, the moon was nowhere to be found. The Italian astronomer spent the next 3 decades trying to unravel this mystery until 1705 when he observed it again using an upgraded telescope. This time, he found that the view from the east is 2 magnitudes fainter than it is on the west. Since then, technology has advanced tremendously, and scientists have been able to view Iapetus through the eyes of more sophisticated space probe machines, including the Voyager 1, Voyager 2, and the Cassini spacecraft. But guess what? They only found more puzzles and unexplained features about this strange planet, and 3 in particular stood out the most. First of all, it seems Iapetus has a very different orbital plane than the other Saturnian moons. The gas giant has 82 moons, but only 53 are known and confirmed, and only 8 of them are prominent enough to be discussed. They include Mimas, Enceladus Tethys, Dione, Rhea, Titan, Hyperion, and of course Iapetus. 6 of them are inclined at 1.6 degrees, with the exception of Mimas, which is inclined at 0.5 degrees, and Iapetus, which is inclined at 15.5 degrees, with respect to the rest of the Saturnian planet. From the stated facts above, it is absolutely clear that Iapetus is much more inclined than the other moons of Saturn. But the strange thing is, it doesn't have a retrograde orbit, so it's kind of difficult to explain its inclination. The weird thing is that Iapetus doesn't have a retrograde orbit, but it is still very significantly inclined. So, why does it have this sort of inclination? According to many scientists, it's because it was captured by Saturn after it was formed in a distant region of the solar system. But this argument isn't really feasible, others say. Until this very day, there is neither any consensus nor a solution for the problem. Another conundrum about Iapetus that has eluded us for more than 30 decades with its unique equator. Iapetus shares some similarities with Earth and the Sun, in the sense that it is not a perfect sphere. However, the Earth and the Sun swell somewhat at the equator and seem compressed at their poles due to a balance between gravitation and angular momentum induced by rotation. This condition is known as hydrostatic equilibrium. Iapetus, on the other hand, has contradicting measurements that defies human logic. Its diameter is 927 miles when you measure from the equator and 884 miles from pole to pole. This would have made for a perfect hydrostatic equilibrium condition, assuming it rotates 360 degrees in 16 hours. But instead, this mysterious object is tidally locked to Saturn, hence it requires 79 days to complete a full rotation. Another puzzling feature that Cassini discovered while studying the moon is the weird equatorial ridge, which measures 12 miles in width and 8 miles in height. This odd combination is made even more complicated by the presence of disconnected segments and isolated peaks, which makes Iapetus look more like a walnut. So far, all attempts to explain this mystery have failed, and it doesn't look like we would get an answer anytime soon. But there are some other mysteries that are easier to find solutions for. Regarding the next ones, scientists did a better job getting answers, however, not for all of them. In addition to its contrasting measurements, Iapetus has a distinctive colour pattern, earning the nickname yin-yang. On one end, Iapetus wears a snowish white super bright colour. This region is between 10 to 20 times more reflective than the other end, which wears a reddish-brown, thick, dark colour. Ironically, Cassini himself predicted this back in 1671 when he discovered Iapetus. Back then, there was no way to verify his assumptions, but the Italian was quite confident that the difference would become noticeable if viewed with bigger telescopes. Turns out, he was absolutely correct, but nobody could tell why it was that way. As time passed, other scientists came up with different theories in an attempt to explain this bizarre situation. One school of thought believes that the disparity in colour was formed during the early days of Iapetus, when it was spinning a lot faster than it is now. Another possibility is that some of the dark matter is from another moon. Phoebe could have been swept into Iapetus to form the ridge. This scenario has the most probability, considering the density of the moon. Yet, however, cosmologists were unable to put all of the puzzle pieces together, making the final answer still to be found. Aside from these anomalies, there are several mind-blowing facts about Iapetus that really make it one of the strangest in the whole solar system. At most, the temperature on Iapetus usually falls between minus 130 degrees centigrade to 180 degrees centigrade, and the gravity level is 44 times weaker than what it is on Earth, meaning if you ever find your way to this strange moon, you'd only be as heavy as an average pineapple is on Earth. This strange and beautiful moon is not really at a stone's throw distance from the Sun, as it orbits at exactly 932,056,784 miles from it, which is about 10 times the distance between the Earth and the Sun. It orbits Saturn at 2,213,000 miles, or 3,561,000 kilometres. The only other significant moon that is further out than Iapetus is Phoebe, which is more than 8 million miles away from our home star. Since its discovery about 3 centuries ago, Iapetus is the epitome of the mysterious nature of the solar system, and it looks like it is set to continue to be so for many more centuries to come.